Good morning and welcome everybody to our Charge Ready launch event. I'm Eddie Munoz, a project manager on our Charge Ready team. We've got some exciting content that we are looking forward to sharing with you all, so let's take a look at our agenda for this morning. Carter Prescott, our Director of Electrification, will kick things off with opening remarks. He'll be followed by an introduction from Pedro Pizarro, CEO of Edison International. After Pedro's remarks, we will jump into our customer panel and you'll have the opportunity to hear first-hand experiences from customers who participated in our Charge Ready pilot program. That panel will be moderated by Chanel Parson, Principal Manager of eMobility Operations. Following that, you will get an overview of our Charge Ready program from Ailsa, one of our Charge Ready program managers. We'll also get a review of program resources and how you can apply, presented by Omar Faris from SCE's Business Customer Division. And finally, Nicole Howard, Vice President of Customer Programs and Services at SCE, will close out our program for today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Carter Prescott, Director of Electrification at SCE, to kick us off.
Thanks, Eddie, for the introduction. Good morning, and thank you all so much for joining us. Welcome to our Charge Ready program launch celebration. I'm Carter Prescott, and I'm the Director of Electrification at SCE. Since establishing its electric transportation department in 1991 and filing its first Charge Ready pilot at the California Public Utilities Commission in 2014, Southern California Edison has been defining the transportation electrification curve. The Charge Ready model has been refined and expanded since the first pilot for light-duty vehicle charging was filed in 2014. In the original pilot, SCE partnered with businesses, local governments, and other organizations to add 2,745 chargers at 146 sites. Since then, SCE has developed additional innovative, targeted pilots to study the impact of providing charging infrastructure to different markets. The Charge Ready DC fast charging pilot explored installing DC fast charging clusters close to multi-unit dwellings and environmentally impacted communities that had limited access to home charging. The Charge Ready Transit Bus pilot provided infrastructure for transit agencies working to create zero-emission fleets. The Charge Ready Home Installation Rebate Program provided rebates to residential customers to install Level 2 chargers in their homes. The Charge Ready Schools and Charge Ready Parks pilots will install charging stations at school facilities K through 12 and state parks and beaches, and will also introduce a utility-owned and operated charging station model. The knowledge gained from these pilots contributed to the development of Charge Ready, our latest offering, and the reason that we're here today. The $436 million program will provide charging infrastructure at workplaces, public parking lots, schools, hospitals, and destination centers for light-duty vehicles. This newest Charge Ready program will have an added emphasis on the unique challenges faced by apartment and condo complexes, where 1/3 of SCE customers live and have limited access to at-home charging options. Additionally, the expanded program also has added rebates to support the installation of EV charging ports in new multifamily dwellings that are under construction. As of the end of 2020, Charge Ready programs have added more than 5,500 charging ports for cars, light-duty trucks, and medium and heavy-duty vehicles across SCE's 50,000 square mile service area. Over the next 5 years, SCE expects these numbers to grow exponentially. Charge Ready will increase new charge port installations to over 50,000. Which is the most for any single US utility. Over the past few years, SCE has installed 500 to 1,000 charge ports per year. Soon, with ChargeReady's launch, this number will increase almost tenfold to more than 8,000 to 9,000 per year. To ensure that Southern California is prepared to meet its need for electrified transportation, both attractive and affordable EVs and the supporting infrastructure must exist. While SCE is preparing its electric grid to serve the increase in transportation electrification, more charging equipment is needed to give EV drivers and fleet operators the peace of mind that they will be able to charge whenever they want. SCE's $2 billion portfolio of infrastructure programs and vehicle charging rebates provides passenger and commercial electric vehicle charging at diverse locations, including homes, workplaces, schools, and public places. SCE will continue to lead the way in electrifying transportation as it continues to expand on its efforts and will ensure that an effective framework is in place for a clean air future for all of our communities. Next, I'd like to pass it over to Pedro Pizarro, our President and CEO of Edison International, for a few words on the importance of electrification.
Thanks, Carter. I too want to thank all of you for joining us today and for your interest in learning more about the potential for EV charging infrastructure on your properties. Edison strongly supports aggressive and feasible economy-wide greenhouse gas reduction targets to achieve decarbonization, including California's decarbonization goals and President Biden's economy-wide target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 50% below 2005 levels in 2030. The transportation sector produces half of California's greenhouse gas emissions and 80% of nitrogen oxide emissions. So transportation electrification is the largest near-term opportunity to affordably reduce greenhouse gas emissions and clean our air. SCE estimates that to reach California's 2045 carbon neutrality and GHG emission reduction targets, the state will need 26 million electric vehicles, or 3/4 of light-duty vehicles, 2/3 of medium-duty vehicles, and 1/3 of heavy-duty vehicles on our roads to be electrified. To ensure we stay on track to meet the 2045 goal, we estimate a need for over 7 million electric vehicles on California's roads by 2030. Progress is being made, but we need to increase the pace of EV adoption and supportive infrastructure by rapidly deploying charging for both passenger and medium and heavy-duty vehicles where needed and where it is easily accessible for all of us, especially in environmental justice communities long burdened by pollution impacts. Equitable access to EV charging is essential, and this is an area where utilities can play an important role. Carter has already shared with you how SCE has been supporting this objective through our various pilots and ChargeReady programs. We also need to have the right policy and funding support for the infrastructure needed to make the clean energy transition a reality. We applaud the administration's bold ideas in the American Jobs Plan and are excited to partner and help the Biden team and the state of California to accomplish the common goal of electrifying the transportation sector. Edison International supports the federal government's effort to deploy critical charging infrastructure along America's highways and across the nation, with an important focus on disadvantaged communities. Investing in public charging will help reduce barriers to EV adoption by providing fueling options for those who are unable to charge at home. We also need to ensure adequate and reliable funding to incentivize EV adoption. Point-of-sale rebates, tax credits, and other incentives for both new and used EVs will help ensure access to the EV marketplace for individuals of all income levels. More importantly, the market for EVs needs to develop further and move the industry closer to price parity with traditional internal combustion engines. We have a lot of work to do to transition to a clean energy economy. However, it is possible with programs like ChargeReady and partnerships with all of you. To mitigate climate change and improve air quality, we must rapidly accelerate transportation electrification and make significant progress across other sectors. This includes energy efficiency investments, electrifying space and water heating, and cleaning the power supply. The clean energy transition will also provide opportunities for economic growth, creating well-paying jobs and bolstering domestic manufacturing and innovation. Making this transition a reality requires all of us to work together, and each of us to make clean energy choices at work and at home. Thank you for being here with us today and learning more about how you can partner with SCE to help deploy the infrastructure needed to electrify our communities.
Thank you, Pedro. Up next is our customer panel led by Chanel Parson, where we get to hear from actual participants in our Charge Ready pilots. Handing it over to you, Chanel.
Thank you, Eddie. Hello, everyone. My name is Chanel Parson, and I am the Principal Manager for E-Mobility Operations at Southern California Edison. What this means is I have responsibility for all of SCE's transportation electrification infrastructure and vehicle incentive programs, all of which work together toward accelerating the adoption of electric vehicles to help California meet our clean energy goals. First, I want to thank those of you joining us for our Charge Ready program launch event. I am very excited to launch our largest Charge Ready program to date, and very glad to have all of you here to learn about our program. Next, I want to give a special thank you to my guests on this panel. Each of the guests on this panel have worked with SCE as part of our original Charge Ready program and have great insights to share. I'm happy to be talking with you today, and I want to learn about your experiences and the impact your Charge Ready projects have had on your organizations and your communities. So let's start by getting to know our guests. Jose, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Jose Luis Olache, a proud council member for the city of Linwood.
Awesome. Thank you, Jose. And the city of Linwood was our very first Charge Ready site ever completed. So thank you for helping SCE get our Charge Ready program off to a great start.
Thank you.
Next is Walter. Walter, please introduce yourself.
Hi, Chanel. Walter Marquez. I'm the interim CEO at the Los Angeles County Fair Association, home of the LA County Fair. Most people know us by the name of Fairplex. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Walter. And a fun fact about the site at Pomona Fairplex is with 200 charging ports installed, it's the largest site ever deployed under our Charge Ready program. So thank you, Walter. Next is Russ. Russ, if you can please introduce yourself.
Hi, Chanel. Thank you. And hello to the fellow guests. My name is Russ Corey. I'm the Senior Vice President of Investment Concepts, Inc.
Thank you, Russ. And Investment Concepts, Inc. worked with Charge Ready to successfully install charging stations at 3 multifamily sites. And last but certainly not least, April, if you please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is April Walker. I'm a Project Management Officer for the Department of Public Works at the City of Long Beach.
Thank you, April. And the City of Long Beach completed 5 Charge Ready projects with us, ranging from sites at the Police Academy to the Long Beach Aquarium. So very nice, and thank you for participating in our Charge Ready program. So I have a couple questions for you. And for the first question, let's begin at the beginning. So I'll start with you, April. What sparked your interest in installing electric vehicle charging stations for the City of Long Beach?
The City of Long Beach has several large main attractions, such as the aquarium, where we'll see the facility fill up on a weekend. And we wanted to just make sure that if we're really pushing the adoption of ZEV, that we were providing the infrastructure for charging. Also, our fleet team has been very aggressive in the transition of our light duty vehicles once they're past their useful life to ZEV. And we need to ensure that we had the charging capabilities for those vehicles as they were converted from fuel sourced vehicles.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate your partnership. Russ, the same question for you. At the multifamily sites you worked with us on, what sparked your interest in installing electric vehicle charging stations there?
Well, with the ever-increasing cost of gas, especially in California, I figured it might be time to start a program and to offer to our residents the opportunity to charge their cars right at home, basically, instead of having to travel to do it. And I look forward to doing it at our shopping centers as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Russ. And Jose, as I mentioned, Linwood jumped out first. They were our first Charge Ready site ever completed. So what sparked the City of Linwood's interest in installing charging stations?
I think our genuine and ultimate interest was that we were changing our fleet of city vehicles to electric. So specifically cars that now drive parking and code enforcement, parking enforcement, and the fun ones, which is the park cars, right? The vans that we have. So we have a couple of vehicles that were part of our summer program for our students in our community. So just seeing the charging stations right, I went to the central area of the city of Linwood in front of City Hall, and just seeing the different vehicles that we have for the city of Linwood that are public cars essentially and being charged, it's a pretty awesome view as well. So we're happy to be the first city in 88 cities, LA County, but definitely I'm happy to hear that there's other folks that are also our bigger city of Long Beach, of course, as April mentioned. So happy to see other cities that have followed, but definitely we are happy to see our city vehicles specifically being charged at the stations.
I love it. Thank you, Jose. And Walter, I mentioned that Fairplex was our largest site, and you have 200 charging stations at different spots on the Fairplex site. So if you could share with us, what sparked your interest in installing EV charging stations there?
So Chanel, it's been part of our process at Fairplex. About 5 years ago, we started our strategic plan, and part of that was sustainability. And so part of that included looking in around our space, recognizing that we are a site that has a lot of parking spaces, nearly 30,000 parking spaces, a lot of asphalt on our property. And we know that electric vehicles and charging is very much part of what California is going to be in the future and where it's headed now, especially with the mandates and that aspect of it. Along with that, not only the EV chargers, which are important, but also we're going to have the metro station coming near our site, 300 feet from our property. So we just know this is what the future is for us. This is what the future is for Los Angeles County. We have a hotel, we have a conference center, and we have multiple events that it only makes sense for us to begin to not only provide this to our patrons, but to also put some of the chargers on the edge of our campus so that they can be utilized throughout the community and the neighborhoods that are in and around our property.
Thank you. And I'll direct the next question to you. How did you learn about the Charge Ready program, and how did the program help you meet your electric vehicle charging goals?
The Charge Rating program really was brought to us in part by our client relations manager. So it was actually working with Brian Bustamante, as he brought it as an option to us. We work well with Brian. Brian's been a great partner. As I said, SC has been a great partner in general, but having Brian kind of be part of our strategic thinking, working closely with us, is how this came about for us. And how the opportunity came about of, hey, is this possible? And we're like, yes, let's figure it out. And so we figured it out in partnership with him.
Awesome. And how did participating in the program help you meet your EV charging goals?
Well, I mean, it's helped when you talk about the amount of individuals and the amount of cars, besides the fair in it itself, we have over 400 events on our grounds, whether it's at the hotel, at the conference center, or at Fairplex with our various shows. And so this is why we sort of kind of had to distribute it across our campus, just based on where the attendance is coming or where individuals would be parking. So we have some some chargers that are out open to the public, right? You don't need to come into kind of Fairplex property. It's on the edge, so it continues to not only meet our individual goals for Fairplex, but it also serves the community in their needs without having to kind of enter Fairplex property.
Thank you. And Jose, I want to ask you the same two questions. So how did the city of Linwood learn about the Charge Ready program, and how did participating in the program help you meet your EV charging goals?
Definitely a combination of our city staff and our outgoing mayor at the time, Ms. Cynthia Beas. That year, they're working on some strategies and some partnerships, and obviously Edison has always been a good partner with the city of Linwood, and we definitely were excited about the opportunity. And I think the meeting our goals have definitely met the goals of, again, changing our fleet from traditional, those cars that that have a lot of emissions to now a more healthier fleet. And I'll share this personal story as well. At the time, it was exciting to see our fleet and run into residents using as well, not only our vehicles, but it's a public station. So seeing our residents there. Well, that personal story just got very personal because I changed into a electric car myself this last year, 2020. So now I see it from a different lens as well. So I'm happy that every time I have a council meeting, I get to plug my car in there and charge it while I'm doing the city's business, right? I'm doing the people's business. So it's really good to have that option as well. And to be honest, dude, that's the only station we have in Linwood. So, as we move forward to this industry and more vehicles, it's good to know that we're one of the few in the area that has these stations. So I'm happy to, on a personal level, use the station and know that if I'm at City Hall doing some quick work, I can charge my car real quick and go on about my business.
Awesome. And Linwood needs to get more charging stations. So hopefully the people of Linwood will look at the Charge Ready program to make sure there's more availability there.
Amen to that.
And April, for the city of Long Beach, how did you find out about Charge Ready and how did participating in the program, help the city of Long Beach?
Yeah, so when Charge Ready, we call it Charge Ready Round 1, and then we're looking forward to Charge Ready Round 2. When Charge Ready Round 1 came about, we learned about this through Damon Hanneman, who was our direct contact at the time with SCE, now Brian Bustamante. And he let us know about this program. And so we, in a flurry, submitted our application for these locations. And we were very thankful to receive, those 5 locations. And we have a few carryover that we plan to submit with the next round. And the city is fortunate that we receive AB 32 cap and trade funds through our public gas utility that supports any infrastructure projects that have direct GHG reductions, and that is our charging stations. But we have a lot of competing needs for these types of funds. We are a larger city, so there's a lot of different projects happening that could utilize that funding source. And so in addition to allowing our fleet to transition a lot faster, we're able to deploy more locations because we're able to stack these 2 programs. So we're able to utilize the Charge Ready program with funding sources to expand our network. And so if not for Charge Ready, which I say anytime I'm giving a presentation related to City of Long Beach citywide EV charging, if not for Charge Ready through the SCE team and our partnership, we would not have, as many ports for fleet or public as we see today.
Thank you, April. And I think April and Walter, both of you mentioned your SCE account managers, and they are very much a core piece of helping get the word out about this program. So a big thank you to the account managers. Russ, same question for you. How did you learn about the Charge Ready program, and how did it help you meet your charging station goals?
Well, I learned about the program through my SCE planner, Dana Robertson, and she presented me with the program and handling all of the energy conservation for our over 7,000 apartment units and 30 shopping centers. I got excited about it. And to be honest with you, without the great incentives that SCE offered for this program, the properties would not have been able to afford it on their own. So it's been a great partnership doing this program, and I look forward to expanding it through our other properties.
Thank you, Russ. You mentioned the incentives and those allowing some of this to happen where maybe it wouldn't have. What would you say the impacts of installing EV chargers has been, either for your company and for the community?
Well, the impact was especially I've done 3 projects, and 2 of them were in disadvantaged communities. So it's really helpful to them. I don't have many users at this point, but as time goes on, I'm positive I've made the right decision that they'll be purchasing electric vehicles, especially with costs coming down.
Awesome, thank you. And then Jose, you mentioned that the city of Linwood has the only public charging stations in Linwood, which I would think is a big impact on the community. Any other impacts you would say that you've seen from installing these chargers for the city of Linwood or the community of Linwood?
No, without a doubt, I think one of the things that living in Linwood, we're part of a region called the Sedline, area, which is the Southeast Los Angeles communities. And to no one's surprise, we definitely have been suffering the disadvantages of not having these opportunities in our local communities. And not only is this the only state, these are the only stations in Linwood, but in the local area, there's not one to my right in Southgate. I don't have anyone to part of LA. Behind me, Paramount, Downey. Well, Downey might have some, but I haven't. They have some of them all. But then Compton as well. So some of the nearby cities don't have these stations specifically. So just to know that we are one of the, not only the first, but definitely one of the few in the area. Definitely, I'm happy to see that. And like I said, I run into residents now because now I do use them even on a personal level. It's good to see residents, seeing there and they're hanging out where it's time to catch up with residents and touch bases. But definitely an opportunity to ensure that our communities at the local level and some of the more disadvantaged communities that don't maybe typically get some of these opportunities have them. So, and I drive around the city and I see electric cars as well. So trust me, I'm not the only one that drives an electric car. In the city and then in the nearby neighborhood. So I'm happy to see that Edison has invested in the city of Linwood and communities like Linwood. And we, with open arms, welcome the opportunity for, I wish I had a phase 1 and a phase 2. I only have a phase 1, April. So right now we only have a phase 1, but I love the possibility of having another possibility in a different part of the city as well. But thank you.
Thank you. I love it. And April, how would you say installing EV chargers across Long Beach has had an impact on Long Beach and the community of Long Beach?
As I mentioned earlier, we acknowledge that we can't promote the transition from fuel to ZEVs without the infrastructure to support the charging. And we can't assume that everyone has access in their own garage to charge in their own driveway. Long Beach has a significant 9 square miles of parking impacted neighborhoods. And so we see this as really integral to supporting our community, in addition to our fleet, which I've already discussed. And I haven't mentioned yet that we are in the process, the CEQA process, environmental review process for our climate action and adaptation plan, and that heavily relies on, reductions in the transportation and mobility realm. So it's super important and impactful. As city representatives, we have to be neutral and unbiased, but I can't tell you or anyone more that without the SCE support on the infrastructure side that we could not grow the network. There's limited funds available. So being able to focus the funding that we have identified on the charging units and the operations and maintenance, and then, partnering with SCE on, as many facilities and locations as possible is really helpful to growing the network. And we are focused moving forward on the disadvantaged communities, the parks, the libraries, because we hope over time the transition in our disadvantaged communities grows as it does anywhere else.
Thank you, April. And Walter, the impact that you see installing chargers at Fairplex has had for Fairplex and the communities surrounding it.
Absolutely, it has. When we started doing the work, we were excited and really to see what that impact was going to be, right? Unfortunately, the pandemic kind of came in the middle of our project. And if you understand Fairplex, if you've been on our space, our business is bringing people together. And that was one of the first businesses that has been not allowed, right? It's kind of got restricted a bit. We have shifted and had to shift our paradigm quite a bit as far as what we were doing and what we were going to use our grounds for to support the COVID relief effort in the eastern portion of the county. But we have seen the chargers that are available to the public, right? Not particularly on our grounds, but on the edge of our grounds used. I think what Jose kind of described is interesting in that it really kind of becomes this kind of community of individuals that you run into from time to time, and you just kind of meet new friends, like kind of like-minded individuals that are driving similar cars. and we see some of that as well on our grounds.
I love it. It's the equivalent of an office water cooler. It's the public charging station. And so, Jose, what advice would you have for someone considering installing electric vehicle chargers at their site?
Don't be scared. Go ahead and do it. Our communities are ready for these cars. Our communities are ready for these stations. And in fact, we need these stations because that would motivate more of our community that don't always have the flexibility of having these charging stations at their personal homes. So these public stations are very critical. And so don't be afraid that we're ready for these stations to be installed in our communities.
Thank you. Don't be afraid. I love it.
Russ,
what advice would you have for somebody who's considering installing electric vehicle chargers at their site?
Well, I was very lucky to have a great SCE planner in Dana Robertson. She kept me informed all the time of what I needed to do, the timelines involved, the necessary paperwork, and things went quite smoothly that way. It's also very important that you attend every site meeting with the SCE staff and their subcontractors so that you come together as a team to make sure everything goes smoothly. You understand the plans they provide, the location of the equipment, and at the end of the day, you'll end up with a really great looking project.
Thank you very much. And Walter, what advice would you have for someone who's going to install EV charging stations?
Sure. Besides what the other panelists here have stated, another aspect that I believe is important is to know the infrastructure around you. Specifically, what I mean by that is know where all the other electrical chargers are within the area, within the vicinity. Who's doing it? Is it at the retail centers? Where are they? Are they in city halls like they are with Jose? I think it helps to begin to figure out what is the right sizing for your project at that point in time. The other element to know when you are going through the installment process, know that it's a project. If we all have had experiences with projects, sometimes deadlines get missed. Sometimes unexpected surprises will pop up. I think you can expect those during the installation period. But even with that, there wasn't anything substantial that caused us to rethink or want to stop the project. It's just a project and recognize that.
Thank you. April, what advice do you have for someone thinking about installing EV chargers at their site?
So my counterparts before me had a lot of great responses, everything from get out and do it to project management and to, monitor deadlines and locations. But what I'll add on to that is post go live, it's really important to ensure that we think about the operations and maintenance of these charging units as they're used and to work with folks who oversee facilities or different areas to ensure that they're ready for what that may mean so that we can keep them operational and we're not having to worry about them going down and encountering challenges with charging needs. Also, I would say that analyze the data, look at what's happening out there, and that oftentimes can tell the story about the need to grow the EV network.
Awesome. And I'm going to do one last lightning round question. So this is the short answer, first thing that comes to mind. And the question is, what was the best thing about participating in Charge Ready? So Walter, you're up first.
The best thing in participating with Charge Ready is that it's now complete, right? Kind of being an early adapter to it, we're able to do this and actually help others who are contemplating to be able to expand the infrastructure that SCE is planning to do. We appreciate that partnership.
Awesome. Thank you. Jose, the best part of participating in Charge Ready?
I think just the excitement of getting something new in our city, something new that we're going to be able to offer from a fleet angle of the city to our residents. So just the excitement part of it was really, really, really awesome to live that experience.
Thank you. Russ, the best part?
Best part was the partnership with SCE and putting the program together, looking forward to the future. And now where I'm into new development, the green code says you have to have 10% of your total parking dedicated to EV chargers. So as I work on my 7 new projects, that's going in that loop, and I hope to partner with SCE on that as well.
Thank you. April, the best part?
The best part is being able to provide a community benefit to both our public and our fleet. Transitioning fleet vehicles to ZEV and electric, that's a community benefit because you're reducing the GHGs and the emissions that go right back into these communities. And so that's really been the best benefit so far. And the reason why it's a benefit is that we would not be able to achieve the expansion of our network. We actually have what we call a citywide EV charging program without the partnership with SCE.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jose, Walter, Russ, and April, just for, first of all, partnering with SCE on your Charge Ready projects, and then sharing your insight and the impacts your projects have had with others. So thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and look forward to hopefully partnering again in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chanel. And a big thank you to our panel participants for your wonderful insights. Next, we have Ailsa Yu, who will give you a glimpse into how exactly our Charge Ready program works. Handing it over to you, Ailsa.
Thank you, Eddie. Hi, everyone. My name is Ailsa Yu. I'm a senior project manager on the Charge Ready team, and I'm happy to talk to you guys today about the Charge Ready program. I'm going to give you guys an overview of the program and the various offerings that we have for our customers. Now, this is our largest EV program available. It's funded by $436 million and will support EV charging infrastructure for light-duty electric vehicles all across our service area. Now, this is an expansion of the original Charge Ready pilot. We had many customers who wanted more opportunities to install EV charging for their customers and tenants. So we decided to expand the program into this much larger offering. This program will provide significant financial and technical assistance to help our customers install charging stations at their properties. We're targeting to install over 30 to 40,000 charging ports over the course of this program's lifetime. And to help our customers with their specific needs, there are 3 different program offerings under the Charge Ready umbrella to help our customers. Now, the first program under the Charge Ready umbrella is called the Charging Infrastructure and Rebate Program. This is our largest option here at Charge Ready. So under this program, SCE will provide the utility side and customer side of the meter supporting infrastructure, and will offer eligible participants a rebate to also offset the cost of the purchase and installation of that charging equipment. While this is the biggest program, we know that some customers may need more. So there's actually 2 variations under this program to help specific customers with their needs. Now, the first variation is specifically for multifamily dwellings in designated disadvantaged communities. So these properties may need extra support when it comes to maintenance and networking costs. So those specific customers may be eligible for a maintenance and networking rebate. So a one-time payment that will offset the maintenance and networking fees associated with owning and operating level 2 charging equipment over the course of 10 years. Now, the second variation is specifically for customers who may want to do their own customer side of the meter construction. So these are participants who want to self-design, purchase, and install the customer side of the meter infrastructure work themselves. So that is definitely an option, and SCE will offset up to 80% of the costs associated with that work that SCE would have otherwise performed in the general charging infrastructure and rebate program. So in the customer side, make-ready rebate option, we will also have an eligible, for eligible participants, we'll also have a rebate to offset the costs associated with the purchase and the installation of SCE-approved charging equipment. So to give you guys a little more detail on the customer side make-ready infrastructure option, we have this chart to help you guys. So on the left-hand side, you'll see everything in yellow is what SCE would cover for the general charging infrastructure and rebate program. So SCE would complete the utility side of the meter and the customer side of the meter. So everything up to the stub out. Now in the customer built portion, so on your right hand side, you'll see that everything in teal is actually what the customer can do themselves if they so choose. And they will receive a rebate of up to 80% for all their construction work on the customer side of the meter. So let's now get to our next program under the Charge Ready umbrella. Our second program is called the Turnkey Installation Rebate program for multifamily. So in the Turnkey Installation program, SCE will offer turnkey installation of EV charging equipment at multifamily sites. At these sites, SCE would operate and maintain the charging equipment. And this program is also available only to residential multifamily property sites in disadvantaged communities. Now, our third program under the Charge Ready umbrella is called the New Construction Rebate. This rebate is a great program for architects, developers, people who are constructing new multifamily residential sites in SCE's service area. So each new construction site needs to have 2 or more units in the site, and they must be currently in development, so planning, design, or construction phase, or have very recently completed construction. They must have received a certificate of occupancy after January 1st of 2017. Now, this is going to be a great program to help encourage our new construction sites to adopt EV charging and help give more amenities to their future tenants who may want to adopt EVs or who may already have EVs and they need charging at their home. So now let's give a quick program comparison of our 3 different Charge Ready programs. So we have our Charging Infrastructure and Rebate program, which is for non-residential and multifamily property sites. We have our Turnkey Installation program, where SCE will provide turnkey EV charging for multifamily sites in disadvantaged communities, and SCE will also operate and maintain those sites for the multi-unit dwellings. And finally, our third program, the New Construction Rebate program, where SCE will provide a rebate to developers looking to put in EV charging for their in-construction projects. Now let's talk about the Charge Ready process. First, customers can easily apply online. The applicant should be the customer of record or should own or lease the site in question. Next, SCE will review the application, discuss the site with the customer, and if the site meets all eligibility requirements, we will reserve funding for your site. Next, during the pre-construction commitments phase, our applicants should purchase or procure their EV charging equipment from a list of approved charging equipment that Southern California Edison will provide. After pre-construction commitments are complete, SCE will then move to the design and build phase, where SCE will manage the entire construction process. After the construction is complete, then we will ask customers to install their charging equipment. Now, remember, we do have other programs within Charge Ready where the customer actually does the construction on their own. So such as the New Construction Rebate, the customer will complete all the construction without SCE. And for the customer built option under Charge Ready Infrastructure and Rebate, the customer will be responsible for their side of the customer infrastructure. So after all the construction is complete in the design and build phase, we will then move on to the rebate phase. So after the customer has installed their charging stations, SCE will review all the eligibility requirements for the rebate. If the customer is eligible for a rebate, then SCE will issue one to our customer. And finally, after the new EV charging station site is complete and ready to go for people to charge their electric vehicles, SCE will perform compliance verification. Now, compliance verification could take a different form depending on the program. For some programs, the applicant will be required to complete program surveys to take a look at how the site is doing, how many people are charging at the site, and whatnot. SCE may also collect data about charging station utilization to better help us plan for future programs as well. Southern California Edison is here to advise you throughout your EV journey. The Charge Ready team is going to help you get the education, information, and support you need as you provide charging at your sites. As you become leaders in the EV community, we will help you with continued assistance through our expert representatives. And now, I'm going to hand it off to Omar Faris, who's going to talk about those tools and resources you guys can use as you apply for the Charge Ready program.
Thank you, Ailsa. Good morning. My name is Omar Faris, and I'm a Transportation Electrification Advisor with SCE's Business Customer Division. We've been hard at work developing the new Charge Ready program and are confident that we're going to deliver an excellent customer experience. A key part of that customer experience is our newly designed Charge Ready webpage. Now let's take a look. This new page has been optimized to centrally locate all of SCE's transportation electrification resources and program offerings. This is your source for all your information needs pertaining to our TE programs. As you can see, all of SCE's TE programs have been laid out cleanly on the top navigation bar. You'll find links to our medium and heavy duty program, Charge Ready Transport, our current pilot programs for K-12 schools and state parks and beaches, a link to our TE Advisory Services page, which offers comprehensive fleet and site assessments for eligible customers and segments, and a link to the Tools and Resources page that offers several helpful items such as program fact sheets, quick reference guides, program guidelines, information on EV charging rate plans, and case studies of actual past Charge Ready pilot program participants at various property types. There are several other important links that you'll find on this main page. One of those important links you'll find is a link to our approved product list. This list identifies EV charging stations that meet various technical, functional, and safety requirements. Selecting a charging station from this list is a condition of Charge Ready program participation. Now let's move back up and visit the link we came here for, which is the Charge Ready program link. This page contains all the tools and information you'll need to learn about and apply for the program. Here you'll see the different segments the program covers. These segments being commercial buildings, public sector, and multifamily properties. Visiting each link will show you which program offerings fit your property type. This is especially important because of the multifamily specific offerings we have as part of the Charge Ready program. Just below that, you'll see another helpful link for information on electric vehicle rates. This will help you better understand the electric costs associated with operating an EV charging meter. This will be particularly useful if you plan to charge fees for the use of your charging stations. EV charging rate plans are particularly advantageous until 2024 because SCE is offering a demand charge holiday on those rate plans. Below that, you'll find our helpful program fact sheets. These fact sheets will provide a quick overview of all three new programs: charging and infrastructure rebate, new construction rebate, and turnkey installation. This can be used to gain a basic understanding of what we offer and how we can assist you. Another incredibly useful resource is our quick reference guide. Let's take a closer look at the quick reference guide. This guide summarizes key points of the program, such as program options, project timelines and milestones, and key customer responsibilities for program participation. You can read through each of the topics listed at the top of our page here: program details, application evaluation and approval, planning and construction, and how to get started. Our informative reference guide outlines the process from submission of the program enrollment application to completed installation of the charging equipment for both our charging infrastructure and rebate and turnkey installation programs. The new construction program guidelines can also be found in the same area. The new construction rebate is, as you heard Ailsa mention, part of the suite of offerings in the Charge Ready program. However, because of its unique nature and timelines, we've created a separate document that solely focuses on this offering. This document lays out the rebate program for new multifamily properties under construction and Cal Green Code compliant properties as of 2017, which may also qualify to participate. Just below the quick reference guide link, you'll see an Apply Now link that will take you to our Charge Ready application portal. So let's go there now. In order to apply, you'll first need to create an account. To create your account for the application portal, you'll need very basic information, which can be seen on this page. Once registered, you'll be able to apply for the program. Applying is relatively simple and shouldn't take more than approximately 30 to 45 minutes. Please make sure to retain your application portal login and password, as you'll be asked to review and submit various items through the portal throughout the project lifecycle. The Charge Ready application portal will guide customers to create program applications, upload necessary program documents, and submit applications to SCE. The actual application process will be covered at our upcoming customer training on July 28th. More details on that event and how to register will be announced shortly. We look forward to seeing your applications come through our application portal. Thank you all for attending our launch event. I'm going to pass it off to SCE's Vice President of Customer Programs and Services, Nicole Howard, to close out our event. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole Howard, Vice President of Customer Programs and Services at Southern California Edison. I want to thank you all for taking the time out today to be a part of this conversation. We're working together in partnership and committed to making the air we breathe cleaner for all Californians. It's been mentioned many times today, but please allow me to express my sincere excitement for the launch of Charge Ready. Expanding EV infrastructure across our 50,000 square miles of service area will drive us toward a cleaner future for all of our customers and all of our communities we serve. Equity is at the heart of Charge Ready. With a sharp focus on removing the barriers facing our most underserved and underrepresented communities, we are positioning to ensure EV adoption and EV charging is accessible to all. But we know we can't do this alone. SCE's Transportation Electrification portfolio of programs creates new opportunities for new partnerships, expand our existing collaborative efforts with our current partners. We'll be working together to modernize the infrastructure supporting our communities. We'll be creating new, well-paying jobs while reducing carbon emissions and transitioning California to a clean energy economy. The SCE team will continue to lead the way in electrifying transportation while being an example to other utilities that want to drive electrification across the state. Most importantly, it was our goal today to provide you with all of the information you need to know to join us on our journey to 50,000 EV charging ports. So I want to again thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
If you are looking for more information on how to participate in Charge Ready, our next events are right around the corner. Please register now for the July 28th Customer Training Webinar, where we'll show you how to get EV ready from application to installation, and host a question and answer session on how to apply. For third-party companies who want to help our customers through the Charge Ready program, please register for the July 29th Trade Professional Question and Answer session. And last but not least, please visit our website at sce.com/chargeready to learn more about the programs you heard about today and submit your application.